What's up, gamers? It is Koa here, recording a YouTube video on my controller settings on Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I know I got asked this recently on my last video, so I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and just make a video about it. You know, I'm not the best or anything like that, but I do like to try to help the scene as much as I can. Without further ado, here we go. Forewarning, I do play Claw, so this is really helpful for a lot of people that play Claw. And let's get into it. So here we are, Black Ops 6, Crim 2, almost Crim 3. I hit Crim 3 last night, but I lost it. Let's get started, shall we? So let's push start. We'll go to settings real quick. We'll go ahead and start with controller. So this is what I have right now. Let me go to the very top. So obviously it's controller. Obviously if you use mouse and keyboard, it's something completely different. But button layout, I'll play tactical flip. I think it's easier for me to slide around pressing my analog stick. If you do this though, keep in mind you will wear down your right stick like a lot faster, so you'll get a lot more of that stick drift. Me personally, I've always been playing like this ever since I was younger, so I'd always keep it on tactical flip. I just think it's so much easier for me, even though I can use it as default with clawing. But for me, I don't know, I just feel like this is for me. So this is all really just preference wise. You can play around with it, but I think tactical flip will let you move around, slide around a lot faster than normal. So it's useful to learn how to play tactical, but like I said, it's always just preference. Stick layout, I have it at default. Horizontal stick sensitivity, I have it at 1.7. Same thing with the vertical. Simplified controls, I have that off. Low motor, I have off. Bumper ping, I have off as well. Now swap R1 with L2 and R2, I have this set to on, just because for me, like I said, I play Claw, so it's a lot easier for me to use the top triggers rather than the bottom ones, you know what I mean? So the vibration I have off. Some people like to have that on, but I know it does mess up with your aim just a little bit, so I really recommend just turning this off. Trigger effects, I have this off as well. Same thing, it's with, you know, it deals with your whole haptics and all that stuff, so I just rather not deal with that. I'd rather just do it with the raw input and leave this at off. Dead zones, my left stick, I have it at 0, just so I can strafe as much as I want or as much as I can. Left, right, left, right, left, right, you know, so it makes it a lot faster for me to strafe. And if you see in my last videos, I do strafe quite a bit. Left stick, have it at minimum of 0. Left stick max, have it at 75. Same thing, I like to strafe a lot, so the faster I can get left and right, the better it is. Normally you don't want to go less than 75 because it will mess up with your movement. A lot of the pros do it as well, so you just want to stick to this. Right stick, I have it at 4. This is really just depending on you. So if you do have a lot of stick drift, you may want to go up, but the lower the better. So me, I usually like to fluctuate around 3 to 4. Even if I do get a new controller, I do like to keep it at 4. That is just because you'll get used to not having any stick drift, whatever, yada yada, and then obviously eventually later on when you do get a new controller and you fix your stick drift, it'll just mess up your whole aim. So you rather just want to keep it at 0 to 4, or you rather just keep it at 4. With right stick max, I have it at 99, just so you can get that precise aiming. Left trigger and right trigger, I have these at 0, just when you're throwing your nades and stuff like that, or you're aiming and shooting, whichever you have your button set to. I like to keep mine at 0, that way I have 0 input. So next is going to be aiming. So this one, sensitivity multiplier, I have everything at default, just at 1. I don't really like to mess around with this too much, but if you are struggling with keeping track on people, I do recommend playing around 0.9, maybe no, probably 0.85, if not 0.95 or 0.90. So that's like, I usually like to fluctuate around those, with sometimes when I'm kind of feeling like an unk, but I like to keep mine at 1.0 just for the fastest reaction time and stuff like that, you know, your turns, your turn-ons and stuff like that. Look inversion on foot, I have mine at standard. Aiming settings, look inversion, I have that all at standard. I don't really like to mess around with any of that. ADS sensitivity transitioning timing, I have that at instant. I know I see a lot of people doing gradual, but for me personally, I like instant. With gradual, it's kind of gradually starts to, you'll move really slow and you gradually move up to the sensitivity that you have set. So if you have it to really slow and your timing is kind of you know, so you want to keep it at gradual. But if you want to be fast and efficient, I mean, I would say instant for sure. Third person ADS correction type, I have that at assist. I don't really do a lot of third person stuff. Aim response curve type, you always want to set this to dynamic. I know it is automatically set to standard, but you always want to run dynamic, and I have mine at 1.0. so this one I usually like to mess around with as well. Sometimes, and my aim feels like sporadic and stuff, I like to drop it down sometimes to 0.95 or 0.90, but I mean, if you have it at 1, it's better. If you start to get the timing down and get used to the timing, I'd recommend definitely keeping it at 1.0. Custom sensitivity per zoom, I have this off. I just I don't like to mess around with it. Like I said, I mean, it's up to you if you want to really mess around with it, but that's all up to you. Movement, sprint assist I have on. So I have my sprint assist delay at 2. I'm not really sure how this works, but I know a lot of the pros use it at 2, if not 0. I heard 2 kind of helps you not do any like extra movement while you're sprinting, because I know the sprinting is kind of wonky in this game, especially with like the sprint assist sideways and stuff like that. But I usually like to keep mine at 2. Sprint assist sideways, I have that on. Sprint assist backwards, I have on as well. Just like I said, I like moving. I do a lot of strafes. I do definitely like to keep that on just to help me out. It's because it's kind of, the omni movement is kind of weird. Mantle assist, I have this at off, just because I like to move around. Like I said, I like to move a lot. And if your character's randomly mounting on things around you, it's really gonna mess up your aim. And I really recommend just having this off, especially if you're kind of into the comp scene and trying to get the best with your movement and all that stuff. So crouch assist, I have this at off. Corner slice, I have it at off. This one has no visual advantage. I know like when you're on the side of things and your character like, you know what I mean? Like he likes to do that on the person that you're shooting at. You're still completely still, so you're not really doing no you know your R6 stuff where you're kind of leaning around the corner and stuff. It's not. It's just a visual thing, and it's like if you like that, you can leave that on. But me personally, I leave it off. Slide/dive behavior, I play hybrid just because, like I said, I like to use both slide and dive. But this is really just preference. I know a lot of people do slide only. Sometimes I like to switch to slide only. Usually when I go to slide only, I'm using an AR when I don't have to, you know, dolphin dive or anything like that. So I'm using an AR. That way I don't have to worry about me accidentally diving or anything like that. But I do play heavily sub now, which I haven't really posted a video of me playing heavily sub. I don't think I have. Slide/dive behavior, I like to keep it at hybrid for sure, but like I said, this is all preference. So basically how hybrid works too, you want to hold down your sprint button and then you want to dive, which is, since I'm on tactical, it's gonna be around right analog. So you want to hold down your sprint while you're moving forward, and then you want to press right analog stick, and then that way you'll activate the dive. And then obviously if you don't want to dive, you just press forward on your left analog stick, and then you just click the right analog stick, and you should slide just fine. It's a learning curve in your mental. I know sometimes it can get confusing, but if you can get over that hump, you should be completely fine. Sprint restore, I have it at on. Slide maintain sprint, I have it at on. Parachute automatic behavior, I have it at free fall. Mantle cancels reload, I have that at on. Then we're going to move on to movement advanced settings. So this one, let's see here. Sprint tactical behavior, I have it at toggle. Auto move forward, I have that as off. Auto door peek, I have that at off. Grounded mantle, I have that at off. Same thing, like I said, it messes up with your movement. You have that on, you start lashing onto anything that's near you. Tactical sprint activation, I have my single tap sprint. I know a lot of pros, they have theirs at double tap, and a lot of people have it at single tap run. I like to keep mine at single tap sprint. I like to keep the longevity of my right analog stick or my left one, whichever one, but that's really up to you. I mean, if you want to really copy the pros, you know, setting by setting, it's double tap for them, just because I think STS is G8 for them. So this is really preference. You're not a pro, save your controller, keep it as single tap sprint. Next, we have plunging underwater. I have mine at free. That way I can move around freely as much as I want. You know what I mean? Sprinting door bash, I have mine at on, just because when you constantly running your movements up to par and stuff, and someone slams a door on you, let's say, you will just bash it right back at them. You know what I mean? So it's like you want to just keep this on to not mess up with your movement for sure. So we'll move on to the next, vehicle advanced settings. I left this alone, I don't use vehicles. Then we'll go to combat. Aim down sight behavior, I have mine at hold. I think it's been like that for every Call of Duty. Weapon mount activation, I have mine as ADS plus melee. Dedicated melee weapon activation, I have mine as hold melee. Body shield, finishing move behavior, prioritize body shield. This is really up to you, whichever's easiest for you. I know a lot of people like to prioritize the body shield just because it's really OP, but a lot of people like to do the executions, which is the finishing move. So that's really up to you. Armor plate behavior, I don't really play a lot of Warzone, but I do have it at apply all. C4 detonation activation all at once. Equipment behavior, I have mine at hold. Manual fire behavior, I have it at press. Combat advanced settings, I have this all at regular. So this one, change D-pad behavior ping, change zoom activation sprint, tactical sprint focus. Weapon mount exit, I have mine at short delay. Interact reload behavior, I have mine at type to reload. Sprint cancels reload, I have this off. Akimbo behavior independent. ADS stick swap, I have that at off. Depleted ammo weapon switch, I have that at on. That way you don't have to worry about you running out of ammo on your AR or your sub, and then you're like, why isn't my gun shooting? Instead, your character automatically switches to his pistol, and then you can get right back into the fight. So this one, scoreboard, map, stats, behavior, having that toggle. Overlay, advanced settings. We'll dive into this one. So this one, inventory control, I have mine at directional buttons. Ping wheel delay, I'm at moderate. Double tap danger ping delay, I have it at moderate. Wheels behavior, I'm at hold. Let's move on to graphics. So this one, I usually keep mine on exclusive. But right now, obviously, I'm switching between 2 monitors, so I'll just keep it at borderless for now, just for this video. But I usually like to keep mine on exclusive. So the reason, so this is like a big talking point between people, right? So exclusive, they claim, is less input on your screen, right? Because, you know, your computer is strictly focusing on Call of Duty, it's strictly focusing on this game, whatever, yada yada. Nowadays, with full screen borderless, a lot of people are claiming it's the same thing. People say they play better on borderless. Some other people say that they play better on exclusive. So this is really, it's kind of up to you. It's kind of preference wise too. So it really just depends on you want to try this on, if the game feels better for you on exclusive. Me personally, I think it's better to get used to playing in this game on exclusive. But borderless nowadays, with the technology nowadays, I mean, it's the same. It's the same shit. So we'll move on. Obviously, your monitor, you want to make sure to have it set to your monitor. Your display adapter, you want to obviously make sure it's on your graphics card. When you're on exclusive, everything else opens up, so the screen refresh and display resolution, they open up. You want to make sure you want to set this to your highest hertz for your monitor. So mine's 240, so I like to keep mine at 240, obviously. Display resolution, so this one's obviously a really big one. So if you're really into competitive, I've done 2 different setups. So I've done 1080p and I've also done 1440. Me personally, 1440, gorgeous. It looks beautiful. I love it. You know, the game looks good. I'm really happy how it looks. But it does take up a lot of FPS, and it takes a lot of power to run 1440. So me personally, when I'm competitive, I like to play 1920/1080. I think just 1080p is a lot better. Obviously, with 240 hertz, it's a lot better. So me personally, I would recommend 1080p, 240 hertz. But it's really, like I said, it's preference wise. I mean, if you're not streaming or if you're not doing anything in the background, definitely keep it at 1440. But if it takes up a lot or too much power of your PC, definitely switch back to 1080. So aspect ratio, I have mine at automatic. Obviously restart shaders, we don't have to worry about that. Display gamma, I have mine at 2.2. I'm not too sure what this does. I just keep it at, you know, normal. This is what it came on. Gamma / brightness, I usually like to keep mine at 50. Just I think I'm pretty sure this is what comes default. NVIDIA Reflex low latency, I have this as on. I know a lot of people, they like to use on plus boost, especially like the pros, but this is all just preference wise. Like I said, again, it's you either want to fluctuate between on and on plus boost. With this game, how it's so badly optimized, if you see there, low latency mode is now enabled in optimizing system latency. Additionally, GPU clock frequencies are kept high in CPU bound cases. This can reduce latency but will increase GPU power draw. So this is really just dependent on you, really dependent on your PC. So definitely do your research on this one first, but this is what I have mine on. I have mine at on, not on plus boost. Next is eco mode preset. I have mine at custom. That's just because usually you can change it around to where it automatically optimizes the game for you, so you can put it at efficiency or low consumption. I keep mine at custom. VSync I have off. You definitely want to keep this off for sure. VSync menus, I want to keep this off as well. This one, I mean, it increases your input of the game, so you definitely want to keep that off. Custom frame rate. So this one I like to mess around with. So this one I have it at unlimited. It does definitely make your game feel a lot more fluid. If your game is really choppy, like your monitor is really like cutting, and it's you just notice a whole bunch of glitches and stuff, you definitely want to set your frame rate below what your max hertz is of your monitor. So my monitor is 240. I used to like to keep my frame rate at 237, that way it doesn't go over 240. Pause game rendering, I have that off. Reduce quality when inactive, off. Focused mode, I have it at 0. High dynamic range, HDR, I leave this at off, just because it messes with the colors, I believe. So graphic preset, like I said, I like to keep this at custom. Render resolution, like I said, keep it at 1920 by 1080 or whichever, just keep it at 100. This one you don't want to move at all. I mean, your game looks like Minecraft basically, so don't move this at all. You'll be completely fine. Just leave it at 100. Dynamic resolution, I have this at off. Upscaling and sharpening, I have mine at fidelity cast. So this one I have it at 100. We'll move down to here. AMD FSR 3 frame generation, I have this off. VRAM scale target, I know a lot of people have theirs at 90. I used to have mine at 90. A lot recently, it feels a lot better on 80. And I believe, like I said, Shotzi does the same thing. He has this at 80, so I definitely just want to keep it at 80. This is really just dependent on your PC. So this one, as well as the last one I just talked about, with the low latency, you definitely want to play around with them depending on your PC for sure. Variable rate shading, I have it at off. Texture resolution, I have that at low. Texture filter anisotropic, I have that at low. Depth of field, I have that off. Detail quality, I have that low. Particle resolution, I have that at very low. Bullet impacts, I have that at off. Persistent effects, I have that at off. Shader quality, I have that at low. On-demand texture streaming, I have that at minimum. Local texture streaming quality, I have that at low. Shadow quality, I have that very low. Screen space shadows, I have that at off. Occlusion of screen space lighting, I have that at off. Screen space reflections, I have that at off. Static reflection quality, I have that low. Tessellation off. Volumetric quality low. Deferred physics quality, I have that off. Weather grid volumes quality, I have that off. Water quality, I have that off. So next we'll move on to view. Motion reduction preset, I'll have that at off. Field of view, I have mine at 105. I like to kind of fluctuate between 100 and 105. The lower the better, pretty much, or around the 100 mark. You should be just fine. So ADS field of view, I have mine at affected. Weapon field of view, I have mine at wide. Third person field of view, I have mine at 90. Vehicle field of view, I have mine at default. World motion blur, I have that off. Weapon motion blur, I have off. This is just to keep a clear picture of exactly what you're looking at. You don't want to, you don't want to make it seem like you're in war IRL, so you definitely want to keep this off. First person camera movement, I have that at 50%. Third person camera movement, I have it at 50%. Third person ADS transition, I just left it alone. I mean, I don't use third person in anything, so you're just completely fine with just leaving it alone. Inverted flashbang, so this one, if you have this off, your screen just shows a really bright white. But if you have it on, it'll show a low light black effect, so that way it doesn't hurt your eyes. So save your eyes. I like to play a lot in the dark, so I definitely want to save my eyes. I don't want to get flashbanged in real life. So we'll move on to the next, to the audio. Master game volume, I have it at 100, so obviously this is just preference up to you. But gameplay volume, I like to have it at 0, just so I stream a lot. Dialogue volume, I have that at 8. I mean, when you're in the middle of in a gunfight or whatever, you want to keep focused on that gunfight. You don't want to hear woods in the background saying, "Come on, soldier," So you definitely want to leave that lower, but still enough to where you can hear it. That way, obviously, when you're focused on getting a kill or anything like that, you do hear this in the background that they're on a point or something. So I like to keep this at pretty low. I know a lot of people like to have it high, but I like to keep it at low. Effects volume, like I said, it's up to you. It just really depends on your ears. Or your volume, your overall volume. Cinematic music volume, I have that at 0 as well. This one, the reason why I like to have it at 0, someone has a bomb planted or something that plays some cheesy music, some intense music, it's thinking you're on Rambo or something, so definitely want to keep it at 0. Speaker/headphone game sound, obviously whatever you have. Enhance headphone mode, have that at on. It's completely free. I know they have one, like a pay version, which I think it's this one. Which you can pay. I think it's like $20 for it, which, I mean, that's up to you. Audio mix, I have mine at headphone bass boost. So I know a lot of people, they like to switch from Sucker Punch or headphone bass boost. Me personally, I think Sucker Punch is too much for me. It just gives me a headache at the end of the day. I like to keep mine at headphone bass boost for sure. Mono audio, I have it off. Obviously, you want to hear if they're coming from your left or your right, so definitely want to keep this off. Mute game minimize. When minimized, I have this off. Mute licensed music, same thing. Due to copyright, it's up to you. You can keep this on or off, it doesn't matter. Asymmetrical hearing compensation, I have it off. Configure frequency intensity, I have this. I mean, I didn't really touch this one. I don't know anything about frequencies or anything like that, so you can leave that alone unless you're really a nerd on frequencies and stuff. You can play around with that. Reduce tinnitus sound, that way when you get flash or anything and it gives you that ringing noise, you definitely want to keep this on. Save your ears some health and some age for sure. A hit marker preset, I have that default. I like to mess around with it, so if you want the Black Ops 4 noise and stuff like that, you definitely want to keep it at the classic. If not, if you don't really care about it, I like to play default. It kind of varies with what I'm using, so it's weird. So like ARs, I like to use classic just because it gives me that dope, but when I'm using a sub, I like to play default because it's a little bit lower than classic, like the volume wise. So I like to focus a lot more with sub just because you're on the pace, you're moving constantly. You just want to stay focused. Voice chat, this is pretty much up to you. Interface, this one, have my visual support preset off. Menu prompts, I have that automatic. Gameplay tips, I have that off. Tutorials, I have that off. Skip introduction movie, I have that off. Skip kill cam, I have that on off. Just because you do also want to see, it's cheesy, but when people kill you, you want to see everybody that. So I definitely want to keep this off. Tool tips, have it off. Telemetry, I have mine on my FPS counter, server latency, stuff like that, packet loss. I mean, that's up to you. Telemetry label size, have that at default. Network in-game icons, I like to see what's going on when I'm lagging or something. I want to see exactly what it is. Just leave these on. It's pretty much just up to you though. Readability now. Subtitles, I have that at default. Subtitle size, I have that at default. Subtitle background opacity, I have that at 0. Menu text size, default. Text chat, text size, default. Color customization, this one's really important. I like to put mine at custom. The enemies, I have it at pink just for it's easier for my eyes to pick it up, and they don't blend in on a lot of things on these maps. So you definitely want to do a bright color, that way you can tell who's who. You definitely want to switch to a color that's brighter or more noticeable to you. So this is really just preference wise, but for me it's pink, and obviously my team is green or my party's blue. So we'll move on. So this is the most important part. Color filter, you want to do it at filter 2. Color filter target, I have mine at both. And then world color sensitivity or intensity, I have mine at 100. Interface color intensity, I have it at 100 as well. So this one on gameplay HUD, on HUD presets, I like to keep mine on classic. That way down and I have a trophy, it's like right in my face. I don't miss it. So it's right there in the middle of my screen. Really, this is just preference wise, whatever looks better. I know a lot of people like to play the magnified role right here, which your radar and everything on your screen basically is a lot bigger, but I like to keep mine as small as possible. That way I can see as much as I can. So I like to keep that definitely at classic for sure. So HUD bounds, you want to keep this as low as possible. I know a lot of people don't really like to mess with this, but I like to keep mine as close or as small as possible, just because if you don't mess with this, your radar will be on the very top left corner of your screen. So it takes a lot more for your eyes to look all the way up there, rather than if you have your HUD display a lot closer to you, you can quickly look left and then you can go on about your day. Minimap shape, I have mine at square. So next we'll go to minimap rotations. We'll leave this at on, and then radar, I have this at off, because I know it looks kind of, I don't really know what this does, but I leave it off. Compass type, well actually I like to turn this off. I don't really like to use a compass. I mean, we're not playing Warzone and ranked. Vehicle HUD prompts, I don't use vehicles like I said, so I leave this at fade after 10 seconds. Leave this alone. In-game chat, this is up to you. Me, I like to focus on the game. I don't care when people talk shit. Player names, I'll do it at a full name. This one's really useful, so you can actually see their full name and their clan tag. Let's say you're looking at somebody across the map and their name pops up and it's a big ass name. You can easily see them. So definitely want to keep this at full name. Crosshair, this is the really important one as well. You want to keep it at static, but you definitely want to keep it at static. That way it stays on your screen. Crosshair dot, I have this at on. This is really up to you if you want a big, small, medium, whatever. I like to keep mine at default, which is, I think it's a small sword. Crosshair spread, I have that at off. That's usually when you're shooting, while you can see your crosshairs and you shoot, the crosshairs get bigger and they start to jump around and stuff. It really messes you up, so you definitely want to keep that off. Crosshair opacity, you want to keep that at 100. Obviously you want to see exactly where you're aiming at, so definitely keep it at 100. Crosshair color, like I said, whichever color's brightest to you for you to keep track of, definitely change this color to that. Mine is blue, it's obviously easiest. And then I know a lot of things in this map aren't really blue, so it'll be a lot easier for you to keep track of where you're aiming at. Hit marker visuals, I have that on. It's really useful to know whether or not you hit him in the head or not. I like to keep this on. Damage based hit marker, same thing on this one. Obviously you want to know if you killed them or not. Definitely want to keep this on. Weapon information, I have that at 100. Everything else I have at 100. All these bottom ones, the widget visibility. I hope this video helped a lot of you guys. Like I said, I'm not no pro by any means, but I mean, you can see my gameplay, you can see how I do. I wouldn't say I'm not bad at all. I don't think. I think I'm above average a little bit. But I hope this video helped, and yeah, hopefully let me know how this affected you guys' gameplay. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. If you're not already, if you can just give me a follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/onlykoa. It'll help out a lot. I'm just really trying to get the most people out of there, just because I'm always streaming on that platform. So if you can go out there and support, I mean, I do really much appreciate it. But yeah, without further ado, boys, let me know how y'all do and keep gaming.